Picture this. I'm just a regular mom in Texas chopping veggies for my son's pool party when this guy, Mike, walks in and flips my world upside down with 5 little words. Fast forward. Late night talks, paint splattered everywhere, and then, bam! My daughter drops a bombshell that stops me cold. What's it all mean? Stick around, 'cause this roller coaster's just getting started. Hey, before we jump into this tale, drop a comment with where you're tuning in from and hit that subscribe button. Ready? Let's roll. I'm standing at the kitchen counter in our suburban Austin home, slicing cucumbers while the Texas sun beats down outside. It's a scorching July day in 2025, and the air smells like chlorine and barbecue. My son Jack, who just turned 23, is out by the pool with his buddies. Their laughter bounces off the water, loud and carefree, mixed with the splash of cannonballs and the occasional shout of, "Watch this!" I'm 48, and this chaos? It's my normal. For 25 years, I've built a life with my husband, Tom. 2 kids, a steady job, a routine that's as predictable as the sunrise. It's not perfect, but it's safe, comfortable. Still, there's this little ache inside me, like I've misplaced something I didn't even know I'd lost. The screen door swings open, and in walks Mike. He's 26, one of Jack's crew, and he's got this vibe. Tall, dark hair dripping wet from the pool, and a grin that could light up a power outage. He's in board shorts, barefoot, and there's this easy confidence about him that catches me off guard. "Mrs. Hart," he says, his voice smooth but warm. "You need a hand with that?" I glance up from the cutting board, trying to play it cool. "Oh, no thanks, Mike. Go have fun out there." But he doesn't budge. He leans against the counter, watching me with these hazel eyes that feel like they're peeling back layers I've kept buried for years. "You're always running around for everyone," he says, crossing his arms. "Don't you ever get to kick back?" I laugh, but it's shaky, and my hands fumble with the knife for a second. "That's just what moms do," I toss back, brushing it off. Inside, though? His words hit me like a rogue wave. When's the last time someone noticed me? Not the snacks I'm making or the laundry I'm folding, but me? I shake it off, tell myself I'm being silly, and focus on the veggies. But as the afternoon rolls on, I can't stop stealing glances at him through the window. He's out there, tossing a football with Jack, laughing like he owns the world. The way he moves, the way he talks, it's magnetic. I'm not some starry-eyed teenager. I know how this sounds. But there's something about him that stirs up this restless feeling I haven't felt in forever. It's not just that he's young or good-looking. It's how he sees me. Like I'm more than just the lady keeping the fridge stocked. Later, I'm carrying a tray of chips and dip outside when it happens. Mike's horsing around with the guys, and he accidentally knocks into me. The bowl of chips goes flying, scattering across the tile by the pool. "Oh, shoot! I'm so sorry," he says, dropping to his knees to help me pick them up. I laugh. It's genuine this time, and we're both scooping up crumbs, our hands brushing once by accident. "Guess I'm a klutz," he grins, and for a second it's like we're the only 2 people here. The sun's blazing, the kids are yelling, but all I hear is his laugh mixing with mine. It's dumb, right? Chips on the ground shouldn't feel like a moment. But it does. I stand up, brushing my hands on my shorts, and he hands me the half-empty bowl. "You're a saint for putting up with us," he says, and there's this sincerity in his tone that makes my chest tighten. I mumble something about it being no big deal and head back inside, but my heart's pounding like I just ran a mile. Back in the kitchen, I lean against the sink, staring out at the pool. Jack's doing a backflip, the guys are cheering, and Mike's still there, glancing my way every now and then. I tell myself it's nothing, just a friendly kid being nice. But deep down, I know it's more than that. See, here's the thing. I've spent years being the glue for this family. Tom's a good guy, works hard, loves his fishing trips. But somewhere along the way, we stopped really talking. It's not his fault, or mine, I guess. It's just life. Jack's grown now, chasing his own path, and I'm proud of him. But where does that leave me? I used to dream big, wanted to paint, travel, live loud. Now I'm chopping veggies in a kitchen that's seen more soccer games than art shows. Mike's comment about me deserving a break? It's stuck in my head, looping like a song I can't shake. I'm not saying I'm unhappy. I love my family. Tom's snoring, Jack's messy room, all of it. But standing there, watching Mike dive into the pool, I wonder, when did I stop being me? Not the wife, not the mom, but the woman who used to sketch sunsets and laugh until her sides hurt. I push the thought away, grab a cold soda from the fridge, and head back to my chopping. It's just a hot day, I tell myself. Just a silly moment. Nothing more. But as the party winds down and the guys start toweling off, Mike lingers by the patio door. "Thanks for the snacks, Mrs. Hart," he says, flashing that smile again. "You're the real MVP here." I wave him off, but my cheeks heat up, and I turn away before he can see. The door shuts behind him, and I'm left with the hum of the AC and a pile of dirty dishes. I start rinsing plates, but my mind's still out there by the pool. What's wrong with me? I'm not some desperate housewife from a cheesy movie. I'm just noticing things, feeling things, and maybe that's okay. Here's where it gets real, though. I catch myself thinking about what Mike said later that night. Tom's watching TV in the living room, some fishing show, and I'm folding laundry. "You deserve to kick back." 5 words, simple, but they've cracked something open inside me. I don't know what it means yet, or if it even matters. Maybe it's just a wake-up call, a nudge to stop sleepwalking through my days. Or maybe it's dangerous, this little spark flickering in the back of my mind. Either way, I can't unhear it. And as I stack Jack's t-shirts, I wonder if this is how it starts. A single moment that changes everything. So what's the takeaway here? Sometimes life throws you a curveball. Not a big dramatic one, but a quiet nudge that makes you question stuff. I'm not saying I've got answers. Heck, I'm still figuring out how I feel about a spilled bowl of chips. But maybe that's the point. Noticing the little things can shake you awake. And trust me, I'm wide awake now. I'm sitting on the couch in our living room, the Texas night settling in outside. It's a couple weeks after that pool party, and the house feels weirdly still. Jack's out with his buddies somewhere in Austin, probably grabbing burgers or hitting up a bar. Tom's off on one of his fishing trips. Typical weekend for him. I've got a mug of chamomile tea in my hands, the steam curling up when the doorbell rings. My stomach does a little flip. I shuffle over in my old slippers and open the door. It's Mike, standing there with a paperback in his hand, looking a little sheepish. "Hey, Mrs. Hart," he says, holding up the book. "Jack lent me this. Figured I'd drop it off." I know it's a flimsy excuse, and so does he. Those hazel eyes of his lock onto mine, and I feel that spark again, like a match striking in the dark. "Come on in," I say, stepping aside. He follows me to the living room, and I gesture at the couch. "Want some tea?" He nods, and I busy myself in the kitchen for a minute, trying to steady my nerves. When I come back with a second mug, he's sitting there, flipping through the book like it's a prop. I settle across from him, and we start talking. It's small stuff at first, how hot it's been, what Jack's been up to. But then it shifts. "You ever miss doing your own thing?" he asks, leaning forward a little. I blink, caught off guard. "What do you mean?" He shrugs, but his gaze doesn't waver. "You're always taking care of everybody. What about you?" I take a sip of tea, buying time. "I used to paint," I admit, surprising myself. "Back in the day, I wanted to be an artist. Galleries, the whole deal." His eyebrows lift. "No kidding? What happened?" I laugh, but it's bittersweet. Life happened. Married Tom, had Jack and his sister, got busy. You know how it goes. He doesn't nod or brush it off like most people would. Instead, he leans in closer. "That's a shame. You've got this vibe, like you're meant for more than just holding down the fort." My chest tightens. No one's said anything like that to me in years. Maybe ever. The room's quiet except for the hum of the AC. I set my mug down, my hands shaky. "It's not that simple," I say. "I love my family. I chose this." He tilts his head, studying me. "Sure, but don't you ever wonder what's still in there?" He taps his chest lightly. "The part of you that wanted to paint the world?" I freeze. It's like he's reached inside my head and pulled out a dream I buried under soccer schedules and grocery lists. I open my mouth to argue, but nothing comes out. He's right. I do wonder. All the time. We keep talking, and it's easy. Too easy. I tell him about the art classes I took in college, how I'd stay up all night sketching. He listens like every word matters, his eyes never leaving mine. "You're not a shadow, Mrs. Hart," he says softly. "You deserve to shine too." My breath catches. It's not flirty. It's real. Like he sees me. The me I've forgotten how to be. I'm about to respond when I hear the rumble of a car outside. Headlights flash through the window. "That's Jack," I mutter, jumping up. Mike stands too, grabbing the book. "I should go," he says. But there's this lingering look between us, heavy with everything we didn't say. He's out the door before Jack barrels in, all loud energy and, "Hey, Ma, you won't believe what happened!" I force a smile, nodding along as he rambles about some guy wiping out on a skateboard. But my mind's stuck on Mike, on that conversation. I flop back onto the couch after Jack heads upstairs, staring at the ceiling. My tea's cold now, but my thoughts are racing. What just happened? I'm not some lonely cliche chasing a younger guy. This isn't about that. It's about what he said. About me deserving more. It's like he handed me a mirror and I'm not sure I like what I see. Here's where I start overthinking. I've built a good life. Tom's steady, Jack's happy, the house is paid off. But good isn't the same as alive, is it? I used to feel alive, back when I'd smear paint on a canvas and lose myself in it. Now I'm just here. Mike's not wrong. I've been a shadow, fading into everyone else's story. But what's the other side of that? Walking away from my family? No way. That's not me. Still, his words keep echoing. You deserve to shine. Do I? Can I? I grab my phone and scroll through old photos. Jack's graduation. Tom with a fish he caught last summer. Solid memories. Safe ones. But there's none of me painting. None of me doing something just for me. I set the phone down and rub my eyes. Maybe this is dumb. Maybe I'm reading too much into a late-night chat with a guy who's barely out of college. He's just being nice, right? Except it didn't feel nice. It felt true. And that scares me more than anything. Jack's music thumps faintly from upstairs, and I'm left with this buzzing energy I can't shake. I could ignore it, go back to folding laundry tomorrow like nothing's changed. Or I could let myself sit with it, really think about what I want. Not for Tom, not for Jack, but for me. I don't have an answer yet, but for the first time in forever, I'm asking the question. And that's gotta mean something. I'm in the garage the next day, surrounded by paint cans and old brushes, my little hideout from the world. After last night's talk with Mike, I couldn't sleep. His words about me shining kept bouncing around in my head, so I came out here to clear my mind. The door creaks open, and there he is, Mike, holding a small box of paints. "Jack said you needed help fixing a shelf," he says, stepping inside. His voice is casual, but those hazel eyes tell a different story. I feel my stomach flip, like I'm a kid caught sneaking cookies. "Yeah, it's over there," I mutter, pointing to a wobbly rack in the corner. He sets the box down and grabs a screwdriver, getting to work while I hover by the workbench, pretending to organize brushes. The air's thick with this unspoken vibe. He's twisting screws, and I'm watching him, his hands steady, his focus sharp. I should leave, go back inside, but my feet won't move. "You're good at this," I say, breaking the silence. He glances up with a half smile. "Fixing stuff? Yeah, I've always liked it. Keeps my hands busy." I nod, but my mind's racing. Last night cracked something open, and now I'm standing here, feeling raw and exposed. He tightens a screw, then pauses. "Mrs. Hart? About last night?" He starts, his tone softer now. My heart jumps. "Mike, we can't—" I cut in, my voice shaky. "It's not right." He sets the screwdriver down and turns to face me, his expression serious. "What if it's not a mistake?" he says, stepping closer. "What if it's a chance for you to feel something real again?" I freeze. His words hit like a punch, but not a bad one. More like a wake-up call. I take a step back, bumping into the workbench. I've got a family, Mike. A life. He doesn't push, just stands there, close enough that I can smell the faint scent of his shampoo. I know, he says, but don't you ever get tired of putting yourself last? My throat tightens. Tired? I'm exhausted. But saying it out loud feels like betraying everything I've built. I grip the edge of the bench, my knuckles white. You don't get it, I say. I can't just flip a switch and change everything. He tilts his head, studying me. Maybe not. But you're allowed to want more. You're allowed to be you. My breath catches. It's like he's handing me permission I didn't know I needed. For a second, I imagine it. Painting again, laughing without worrying who's watching. But then reality crashes in. Tom, Jack, this house. I shake my head. It's not that easy. He steps closer, and I don't back away this time. It doesn't have to be easy, he says. Just real. We're inches apart now, the garage feeling smaller than ever. My heart's pounding so loud I swear he can hear it. I want to argue, to tell him he's wrong, but I can't, because he's not. I've been sleepwalking through my days, and he's the alarm clock I didn't ask for. He's handing me a paintbrush, showing me a stroke technique. His hand lifts, hovering near my arm, but he doesn't touch me. Just waits for me to take it and try. I'm stuck, torn between running and staying. Then my phone buzzes in my pocket, shattering the moment. I fumble for it. Tom's name on the screen. Hey, hun, I'm on my way back, he says when I pick up. Be home in 20. I mumble an okay and hang up, my hands trembling. Mike's watching me, his face unreadable. I should go, he says, grabbing the screwdriver and stepping back. Yeah, I manage, my voice barely there. He heads for the door, but pauses. I meant what I said, Mrs. Hart. You're worth it. Then he's gone, the door clicking shut behind him. I slump onto a stool, my head spinning. The garage smells like dust and paint, but all I feel is this wild mix of fear and something else. Hope, maybe. I don't know what to call it, but it's alive, buzzing under my skin. I stare at the shelf he fixed, now sturdy and straight. It's such a small thing, but it feels bigger, like a symbol of something shifting. I grab a brush from the pile, twirling it in my fingers. When's the last time I painted? Really painted? Not just doodled on a napkin? I spot an old canvas in the corner, half finished from years ago. A sunset I started when Jack was little. I pick it up, tracing the faded colors. It's me, or it was. The me who dreamed big, who wasn't afraid to make a mess. Tom's truck will be pulling up soon, and I'll slip back into my routine. Dinner, dishes, small talk. But right now, in this garage, I'm wrestling with myself. Mike's right. I've been last on my own list forever. Is that fair? To me, I mean? I don't want to hurt anybody, and I won't. I love Tom. I love Jack. But loving them doesn't mean I have to disappear, does it? I set the canvas down, my hands still shaky. Maybe it's not about choosing one life or another. Maybe it's about finding space for me in the one I've got. The garage door rumbles open. Tom's home. I take a deep breath, shove the brush in my pocket, and head inside. But that canvas? It's still sitting there, waiting. And for the first time in years, I'm not sure I'll leave it alone. I'm out on the back porch, the Texas sky stretching wide and starry above me. It's been a week since that moment in the garage with Mike, and I can't shake it. Tom's inside, snoring on the couch after a long day, the TV flickering with some late-night infomercial. I've got a glass of iced tea in my hand, but I'm not drinking, just staring at the condensation dripping down the side. My mind's a mess, replaying Mike's words. You're worth it. It's like they've carved a space in me I can't fill back up. I've been dodging him since, making excuses when Jack's friends come over, keeping busy with chores. But tonight, I'm done running from myself. Next morning, I'm in town grabbing coffee at Brewed Awakening, this little spot near the highway. The bell jingles as I push the door open, and there he is, Mike, sitting at a corner table with a book and a latte. My heart does that stupid flip again. He looks up, spots me and flashes that grin. Mrs. Hart, hey! Grab a seat? I hesitate, but my feet move before my brain catches up. I slide into the chair across from him, clutching my to-go cup like a lifeline. Didn't expect to see you here, I say, keeping it light. He shrugs. Needed a quiet spot. You? Just caffeine, I lie, tapping the cup. We chat for a minute, weather, Jack's latest antics, but it's small talk with an edge. Then he leans forward, his voice low. Look, I don't want to mess up your life. I see you, you know? The real you. I swallow hard. Mike, I'm 48. I've got a husband, a kid. What am I supposed to do with that? He doesn't flinch. Live a little. For you, not them. My chest tightens. It's so simple when he says it, but it's a tornado in my head. He flips his book shut and leans back. I'm not pushing. Just saying. If you ever decide you're ready to be more than a mom or a wife, I'll be around. He pauses, then adds, You've got something special. Don't let it sit on a shelf. I stare at him, words stuck in my throat. He's not begging or flirting, he's just honest. It's disarming. Before I can answer, he stands. Take care, Mrs. Hart, he says, then turns to go. But he stops, glances back. If you change your mind, you know where to find me. Then he's out the door, leaving me with a cooling coffee and a racing pulse. I sit there, replaying it. He's gone, but his words hang heavy. I sip my drink, barely tasting it. What does live a little even mean? I've got a good life. Tom's solid, Jack's thriving. But good's not enough anymore. I want more. Not to ditch my family, but to feel like me again. I pull out my phone, scroll through pics of paintbrushes I've been eyeing online. Maybe it's time. Not for Mike, but for me. I pay and head home, my mind buzzing with something like hope. That night, I'm in the garage again. Tom's asleep, Jack's out, and the house is quiet. I grab that old canvas from the corner, the sunset I started years ago. It's faded, but the bones are there. I dig out my paints, the tubes stiff from disuse, and squeeze some red onto a palette. The brush feels alive in my hand, like an old friend. I start painting. Bold strokes, no plan, just color and motion. It's messy, wild, and it's me. For the first time in forever, I'm not thinking about dinner or laundry. I'm just here, breathing, creating. The clock ticks past midnight, but I don't care. This is mine. I step back, wiping paint off my hands, and stare at the canvas. It's not done, but it's alive, vibrant like Mike said I could be. I smile, a real one, and it hits me. I don't need permission. Not from him, not from anybody. I can do this, carve out space for myself right here, in this life. Maybe I'll take a class, sell a piece someday, or maybe I'll just paint for me. Either way, I'm not shelving this again. Next day, I'm buzzing with energy. I tell Tom over breakfast, I'm painting again. He looks up from his eggs, surprised. Yeah? That's cool, hun. It's not deep, but it's enough. Jack texts me later, some meme about art, and I laugh. It's small, but it's a start. I'm still me, wife, mom, but I'm more now. Mike saw it first, and I'll always owe him for that nudge. I don't know if I'll see him again, and that's okay. This isn't about him anymore. It's about me, waking up. Then it happens. I'm cleaning the garage later, humming when the door swings open. I turn, expecting Tom or Jack, but it's neither. It's my daughter, Lily, 21, away at college in Dallas. She's standing there, duffel bag slung over her shoulder, tears streaking her face. Lily bursts in, eyes wide. Mom, she chokes out. I dropped out. And then she yanks off a wig, laughing. She's been secretly cast as the lead in a wild college play about a dropout's life. My brush clatters to the floor, paint splattering red across the concrete, a bright streak that matches my shock. The world tilts and I'm frozen, staring at her, my new spark snuffed out in a heartbeat. If you loved this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, drop a comment, and pass it along to your buddies. This is an artistic and fictional creation intended for both entertainment and educational purposes. Any resemblance to actual people or events is purely coincidental. Some scenes and dialogues in the video are part of a dramatized performance and incorporate elements of grotesque, satire, and exaggeration. The creator stands against discrimination, violence, and hatred. This channel fully complies with YouTube's policies and does not infringe upon copyright laws.